This is what I think is going to happen over the next few years with AI. And this isn't going to be a pretty fun or exciting video. In fact, if I am remotely right, it's going to be absolutely terrifying. Like, genuinely. So buckle in. Basically, what I think is going to happen over the next 2 to 5 years, and the only reason for this is just because of how slow humans are, is we're going to have the fall of Rome. If you look back across all of time, empires just fall. And at the minute, the US, the UK, Germany, France, the countries that you sit and think of as like the big powerhouses of like the global economy. The UK has somehow pulled off to be this like a banking centre. At least that's how they started off. Now I genuinely don't know what we have to stand for. All of those kind of jobs are white collar jobs. If you look at China, their export and stuff like that is massive, and that's what's keeping them alive. Look at Japan, they've had massive economic problems over the last couple of years, and they're still manufacturing stuff, but kind of like, if you think of those kind of places, India, China, places like that. What we're going to have over the next few years is a full-blown apocalypse on jobs, especially white-collar jobs. AI is not going to necessarily be able to replace the people fixing the road, but it's going to replace your accountants, your lawyers, your customer service reps, your designers, architects, anything that's sat at the desk doing stuff, any admin job, that's gone. In fact, admin jobs should be gone now. To the point where it's like, how far does this go? Like, you're probably going to want to sit down and talk to a doctor, right? But do you need to go to the doctor if you've got an AI on your wall at home that's actually able to sit and answer the questions that you've got and do a good job of it? Probably not. It's probably a waste of your time. Everyone's time. And that's scary. And what that looks like is, the numbers out there in the minute, Deloitte's throwing out 30% of jobs, 40%, the most I've seen is 50. I think we're probably off that mark, and I think it's probably going to be closer to 80. No joke, 80% of white collar jobs are just going to disappear. Absolutely disappear. And you might sit there and think okay, well, the Industrial Revolution came and went, and people still had jobs, but they went from me being the person. In fact, there's 10 of us making baskets by hand. And we went from them 10 people to one person watching a machine make the baskets. It's one job was created. But that one job of okay, you sit, watch machine, make sure it makes baskets. AI can do better than you now. So it's AI watching AI can do better. So it's this just downward spiral of just it's going to be a mess. And where it gets worse is these white collar countries, should we call them, their whole ecosystem and economy and everything exists off the back of it, and it will just crumble. Yes, don't get me wrong, in the UK we manufacture stuff, in the US we manufacture stuff. There's countries like that do, but if you look at their jobs, in the UK there's hundreds of jobs that don't get filled because nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to go pick potatoes out of a field because everyone thinks they're too good for it, and they'd much sooner work at some job where they get to stay at home and tap away on their laptop like I do all day. That's what they want to do, or want to work in a shop. It's but if you're in a shop, why the high street is dying anyway? So you think if I can think, AI just ordered me that new coat I wanted, or what's the latest trend? Or it will even know you so well that it's just, I want a new coat. Okay, fine. You're not going to go out and try 6 coats on. You'll just order it here, and then don't order it here because I'm here. But you'll just order it and it'll arrive. And the thing is, even if let's say 50% worst case, 50% of people, or best case, are all replaced with AI. That's like, you think of your group of friends. I'd say there's 4 of them. Let's say you're really popular, and there's 4 of them. That means 2 of your mates are just going to lose a job and not have another one. In January, in the States, there was 105,000 jobs lost and 5,000 jobs created. That means 1 in 20 people that were sacked had a job to go to. And that's terrifying. You look at Amazon, they've laid off hundreds of thousands, well, not hundreds, tens of thousands of people to invest heavily into AI. Okay, and Alexa is still shit. It's scary. And I don't think people are prepared for it. And when those 50%, let's say 50%, they're all gone. They don't work anymore. They're just sat around. The money system doesn't work. So if the government's going to pay you to sit at home because you want to eat and have somewhere to sleep and be able to drink water and stuff, very needy. But you pay for that. So if you're not paying for that, is the government just going to give you it? But why should they give you it? So that you stay alive? Yeah, but what benefit are you? And then the other 50% that's still at work, who are they working for? You're not going to be going to the shop because you've no longer got a job. Unless the government's just going to give you loads of money so you can go on a shopping spree and keep everyone else in a job. Don't think they're that generous. I mean, the furlough pay in COVID would say otherwise. But anyway, that then will just it will spiral down and down and down and down to the point where it's your card shop. You can buy birthday cards. How are they going to stay open if nobody can afford to buy a birthday card? Or 50% of the population can't afford to buy a birthday card? I genuinely don't know. I don't know what the answer to this is. An interesting idea was that it would just move parallels away from helping, if that makes sense. So if you think about it, if you were to take a caveman and drop them into a normal office block today, be that person's working so that he gets food, and they're yeah, but the caveman's oh well, I'll just go hunt and get food, and then it's problem solved. But they're oh no, well, this person runs a marketing campaign, which then means that the marketing helps the economy because you're doing this, and then it sells more food, so they get paid because there's more food, and then they can buy food. That would blow caveman's brain, but you get the idea. So what will that parallel be? And it's got to be something that humans can't be replaced with. Scary stuff. Really scary stuff. Yeah, so what does that look like? How does the financial system function after that point? How do you buy a house? You're going to want to be housed somewhere. If you haven't got a job, how do you pay for that? And the government can't just keep making money out of thin air for the people who are going to be sat at home, because you have to literally make 50% of the money every single year in order to fund the people who aren't working. Anyway, so that's my concerns with this whole AI thing, and that's coming from someone who sits and implements AI into people's businesses all day, every day. It's scary. It's really genuinely quite scary. So think about it. Think about what's going to matter afterwards. My bet's gold. Whatever this financial system looks like afterwards, there's still only going to be a finite amount of gold. So if you've got some of that banked away, or because cash is going to be worthless. They only keep you afloat for so long. Keep hold of your pension, because the stock markets will crash, because there's nobody's buying your Apple products, so the Apple stock price is worth nothing, and the company's actually got, well, unless they replace all of their staff with AI, they've got massive overheads. It's scary. The system that we have right now does not work at all if I'm even remotely right. So what does that look like? Is it some kind of communism? Some kind of we all work together for a common goal? Do we end up like Wall-E and just floating around in space getting fat? Maybe. I don't know. But my general takeaway from this is like, I've got a couple of years to get filthy rich, because that window is genuinely closing. Like, not just like I'm trying to sell you on a course, buy my course on how to make money online. Like, I don't care. How am I going to make as much money as humanly possible in the next couple of years, so that then, when it all implodes, I'm sat on a nice pool of gold and silver and precious metals that will still be worth something. I will, well, I own a house anyway, but like fundamental things like that. And then you look at just, in fact, I'm going to stop there, but look at what happened when countries have gone into economic decline that aggressively. Like, look at countries where unemployment rate's like 30%. There's riots in the street, there's people stealing and rioting and fighting. It's like, that's why all of the billionaires are suddenly building nuclear bunkers, because they're less concerned about kind of a nuclear threat and more just like, if all of these common folk uprise because they're hungry, I want somewhere to hide and just live through it, and then, pop back up once they've sorted it all out. Yeah, it's scary. But yeah, happy whatever day it is you're watching this, and go make some money, because we're all facing pending doom.